Welcome to our Lunchtime Live program on WJEJ, a partnership once a month with Washington County Public Schools, as we talk about school matters and with school people, and we give you an idea of how public schools and public education works here in Washington County, Maryland. This is Will Kaufman from the Public Information Office, joined for our annual summer workout on the summer meal program and food and nutrition services in Washington County Public Schools. Mike Embly is here to join me. Welcome aboard, Mike.
Thanks for having me back.
Good to see you again. We didn't really cause any trouble last time. So
no, it's amazing. A couple years in a row here now, so
I guess we're good. Not that we're not capable.
Correct.
It could come off the rails any time with the two of us involved. I thought for sure I'd pull in that I'm going to pull in one of these years, and you're going to have one of the meal machines parked right out here in the parking lot.
Logistically impossible. They're out feeding kids.
They're all in action right now.
We can delay the show for about an hour. We're good.
Yeah, it's bigger. The summer meal program is in cliched form bigger and better than ever. It seems.
It is, and it's we've grown again. We're now up to 9 meal machine sites with 6 vehicles. When we started this thing 5 years ago, it was a broken down box truck, and it's been really great to see where it's come in 5 years, and we'll continue to grow. We take on little bits each year and continue to look to try to fill those areas of the county where the need is, where we're currently not.
Right. These several years that we've done the show and updated the program, you have said every time that there's planning going on essentially all the time. So as we roll out this summer, and it's still only mid-June, that there is some look ahead. Is that the case right now?
Always.
Yeah.
We're always looking at next summer because, the lessons that we learn early in the summer for this year, we're tracking those for next year. We'll put this to bed in August, at the end of August this year, open school, but we'll come back to summer meal machine planning right after the holiday break in January. But we'll come back to our notes and the things that we've learned from this summer, and people that have reached out to us and they have said we really want this program next year. So it is truly a year-round planning process.
Okay, for folks who aren't familiar with the program at all, how it works on the day-to-day, locations and all of that, run us through the thing.
So it starts with the logistics of, does the site qualify for free meals? And that has to be in an area where 50% or more of those kids that would go to a school in the nearby area qualify for free and reduced price meals. That allows us to operate in that particular site.
That's based on the school, or it's based on the community?
It's based on the school data of those children. So if a particular school is, say, 60% free and reduced, we can operate in that area where any kid that goes to that school lives. So if you run the data based on the address, and that's how we qualify the site. If it's a apartment complex, new this year we added Valley Meadows Townhome Community. Mm-hmm. The complex manager actually reached out to us because there has to be an approval of, it's their property. Right. We're going to operate our program on their property. It becomes a partnership at that point. And we have many, many fabulous partnerships that we keep adding each year. And so from then, it's logistics of, okay, which vehicle is going to service that site, setting meal times, staffing the site, and rolling them out. And it's a lot more difficult than it sounds. It is a process.
Right.
It really, the biggest barrier is when you are going into somebody's townhome community, it's getting that approval. And getting those folks on board that really understand the need, and then going from there.
Is it how much? Is there any approval process from our side of it? Are there any guidelines? Are there any restrictions? What's involved on our side of it when it comes to the paperwork and local ordinances and things like that? Is there anything about it that we have to check every year to make sure something's in place, whatever that might be?
Yeah, so it's a federal program, so there's okay. requirements of the program, and for us locally, it's making sure that there has to be a rain shelter. So and that can be as simple as canopy tents. So we operate rain or shine. Of course, on rain day, you don't get as many kids showing up as a nice day. It has to be obviously safety, security in an area where we're not asking kids to cross Interstate 81. We look at all of those logistics. Federally, the requirements are children 18 and under are the only folks that we can feed a free meal to. They have to eat the meal on site, which that creates some logistical problems for parents, especially in townhome communities where they want the kid to come out, get the meal, and come back inside.
Right.
Again, that's something we enforce. We do provide shaded areas, awnings on our vehicles, tables for the kids to sit on. So we do try to provide as many resources as possible. Of course, we have a meal pattern we have to follow. So yes, there are rules and regulations that we have to follow. But honestly, at the end of the day, we're talking about feeding kids. So any obstacle we come across, we're willing to come across it and hurdle it for the sake of the kids.
Have you ever had to adjust anything in midstream at a particular location? Has anything ever cropped up that was unexpected? Whether it involved sort of a natural situation, whether it involved a misunderstanding over a local situation, anything like that? Or once we have things in place going into after planning for a summer, once you get rolling, it rolls out pretty smoothly.
It really does. Other than your normal day-to-day staff call-ins, vehicles having issues. Last year we had a vehicle that overheated a little bit, and but we have so many resources at our fingertips and a great team in place that it really all is a very well-oiled machine.
How do we come upon these vehicles that we're up to 6 now?
So fortunately, we have a fleet of vans that we use throughout the school year.
Okay.
So after the first year, we got a grant from National League of Cities the first year that bought us the big truck with all the bells and whistles. Mm-hmm. From there, we really started to learn that there's things that we currently have that we can use that we don't use in the summertime. So we really looked outside the box a little bit and said, look, we have vans. This is all they need. We put an awning on. We put some additional equipment, but it's a lot of resources that we've always had. And now I will say this: we're starting to maximize our capabilities, but now we're also looking at community funding, other opportunities, fundraising to continue to support this program.
Is there any chance that it'll work out where a particular location with a partner or more might lend itself to us locating somewhere that's maybe based on the partner and like a funding contribution or something like that? Does that or are there too many restrictions in order to make that work?
No, not at all. And it's on our drawing board. And anybody that's listening that would like to step up the plate with that, we'll be more than happy to talk to them.
Well, here's what and this is just off the top of my head. I can envision and fill in the blank corporate sponsor. It's the Citicorp meal machine at some place, something like that, where somebody has provided sponsorship, a grant, or whatever it is.
Yeah, again, we're in the early stages of that. We've had discussions with our legal team, about our ideas just like that, and of course there's parameters. So we are in the processes of putting those together, and because we know that is the way to continue to expand this program. And we've already, I think, just about maximized what our current resources are. So that's going to be our next step.
What about the food itself? How do you put that together?
So it's the menu is similar to what the kids are used to during the school year, but it has to be logistically serving spaghetti on the meal machine is a little difficult. So hot dogs, hamburgers, pizza, your staples, and then we infuse fresh fruits and vegetables. Milk is a requirement of the program. We actually provide water to the kids as well, because not everybody wants to drink milk on a 90-degree day. So that's just something extra that we do. But yeah, the menu that actually is pretty simple.
Do you have to follow the same guidelines as you do in school cafeterias?
Yes and no. There's guidelines with specific things you need to serve. It is a little easier in the summertime with some of you don't have to hit calorie windows and different targets you don't have to hit in the summertime.
But are there specific summer guguidelines?
There are.
Oh,
yeah,
no
there are. We have to serve milk. We have to serve fruits and vegetables, whole grain. Lower fat items than what you're going to normally find, out on the street somewhere.
Does the menu, for lack of a better term, vary from location to location?
It for the most part does not.
Okay.
Most of our meal machine trucks all serve. It's a 2-week cycle menu, so the menu will repeat every 2 weeks because you do get limited beyond 10 different choices.
Right.
you do start running out of ideas. But we'll infuse fresh fruits and vegetables. We have a big push year long, farm to school, farm to summer.
Right.
Bringing those local products, because the best part about where we live, there's a lot of great produce available to us in the summertime. So we want to make sure that our kids in the summer that are utilizing our program get those products and support our local farms.
I guess the thing I was thinking was, if there's any buzz, if anybody's really paying attention and the word gets out where, let's go over to to C location because they're having shrimp this week,
right?
And we're getting corn on the cob instead. That's sort of, it's not that.
Yeah, no, we have to have a set menu. We have some different logistic menus. Some of our school sites that aren't mobile, they have a little bit more flexibility than you would. They can serve spaghetti.
Right.
It's hard to serve spaghetti on a mobile meal truck.
Right. Mike Embly is here from Washington County Public Schools, the Food and Nutrition Services Office, as an assistant supervisor in the department, but is right in the thick of the summer meal program and has been for this number of years that we've been doing the show, and the program's been executed across Washington County. Talk a little bit about the variety of locations. You talked about how we sort of piece together the locations and why we choose certain locations, but what are they?
So we have, they're all over the place. The two new sites this year, Lakeside Community. We have Valley Meadows Townhomes, which is off of Virginia Avenue. Nolan Village. We're actually inside the Nolan Village Community Center, thanks to the Housing Authority.
Oh, great.
Has allowed us to use that facility, which is great because it's air conditioned.
Oh, it makes a huge difference.
It's a huge difference. We are at Elgin Station, Helene Park. We are at Pangbourne Park. Cortland Manor and Otterbein Church were our first two sites, and we're still there. They're two of our biggest sites. And then Children in Need. We use the Children in Need parking lot, but it also services obviously the kids in that neighborhood, but the Robert Johnson Center program. We have sites there. That's our meal machine sites. And then on top of it, we're operating about 25 other community sites, YMCA, Boys and Girls Club.
I'm sorry, maybe my hearing's going bad. You just said 25.
Correct. Yep, 25 other communities. We're doing 9 meal machine sites, about 25 community sites, Boys and Girls, YMCA.
I mean, that's almost close to the number of school locations during a regular year.
Yeah, well, we're doing about 25 school sites as well. So we are doing more sites in the summer than we do in the school year.
That's crazy.
Maybe
you've probably told me this in these years we've been doing this show. That's a big number of sites.
Yeah. Well, hold on to your hat. Now this summer is obviously the length of this summer. We might not see this again,
right.
But we think we're going to serve about 100,000 meals this summer, just this summer. If that doesn't tell you anything about the need in the community, I mean,
right.
It really is.
Well, of course.
And the other stat is that, again, this is the 5th year for just the meal machine program. After this summer, we'll have hit 100,000 meals on the meal machine mobile program.
Right. And it's not about. There's certainly a need in the community. We see it during the school year. You guys certainly see it during the summer, but it's not. We're not checking like family income when these kids come up to get a meal. This is anybody 18 and under.
You're right. Anybody, no questions asked. They show up. You can be from any county, any location. You just show up and get a meal if you're 18 or under.
Yeah, that's an extraordinary program. Those numbers, I just didn't have a handle on those numbers.
Yeah, it is staggering.
Right. Staffing certainly on us. I mean, we have a lot of people in play.
We do.
Over the course of the summer that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, we're probably 60 to 75 staff members during the summer to run this program, and it's great for the staff members. The staff members enjoy working. The staff members love being out in the community doing this program, and they get to see a different aspect than they do during the school year. And the feedback I get is just, I've got people that will tell me it was a life-changing experience for them to be out and see the need and what they're doing.
I would guess there's some familiarity, too, depending on where your staff would be located in the summer program. If they're, in a sense, if they're sort of on their home turf, they're seeing some of the kids they've seen, so they're getting to see some of the kids year-round then, in essence.
They are. I had a couple staff members who are managers at sites that said, mid-May, kids are saying, are you going to be there again? And
right.
and you say it's really touching, but in the other sense, I look at those kids are lining up their meal and making sure that we're going to be there for them. Those kids are making sure and lining that up in advance, knowing that they need food. And our staff gets that, and that's where it's really touching to them. It's touching that the kids remember them and appreciate them, and it's just a great program.
How do you choose staff? You take on folks who want to work through the summer then?
It's a process. We
Okay.
typically, a lot of the staff members want to do it every year. And if they've been working for us each year on those particular programs, we have just as much desire to have them working it as well. This year, we had actually probably double the amount of people that we truly could staff and use this summer. There was that much need for folks to have work in the summer.
That's tremendous. Again, I'm talking with Mike Embly from Food and Nutrition Services with Washington County Public Schools as we talk about the summer meal program. Do you have different growers, different local producers who we work with, or we go back to the same folks?
Well, we use produce vendors, and they
Okay.
reach out to the farms.
Okay.
They're purchasing from all of our local farms for us. We do use like Reinhardt Orchards
Sure.
in Smithsburg. We use them directly, but most of the time, our produce providers are sourcing from the farms, and then we purchase directly from the wholesaler.
Is there any advantage in any particular way to serving in the summer where we have different options, or not really?
It is, because again, when you get to late summer, there is so much fresh produce available in this area, and sometimes during the school year you miss out on that. So there is a little bit more of a window, especially when we hit later summer.
What are you watching on the day-to-day, the week by week? Whether there are either concerns or we're maybe a little bit stressed in a particular location because numbers have been bigger than we expected. How do you monitor the program as the weeks go?
Yeah, honestly, through my management team, we're looking at the numbers. We're looking at we have daily communications of anything that may go on. And again, it's very minimal. Honestly, we're in the office are already planning for back to school. So this program we really spent a lot of administrative time, the March, April, May. We kick it over to our team. We're monitoring through site reviews. Our team, we have a number of folks that go out and do site reviews, site visits, following up and just being out there as much as we can. I was at 2 sites already today. It's great to get out of the office and still see that. But the focus in the office right now is September.
Right. Who oversees us or a program like this from the outside? Is there anybody that has to review this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's the Maryland State Department of Education.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have Food and Nutrition Division. They come out. They'll do site reviews as well. It's another set of eyes, and then they do a full review audit at the end of the program.
Right. Who else is doing this? Where else is this done?
There's a lot of counties that are
Okay.
doing it. I mean, it really now has become, in the last 5 years, I think, we were on the forefront of mobile meals. Really, a lot of different counties, including our partners now in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of folks that are really, really seeing that this is a program that works and the need is there, and getting that food out to the kids in those neighborhoods is a key.
Well, from a community standpoint, if you analyze just the topic of hunger as a community concern, man, this plays positively in that area. We know in schools on the day-to-day during the regular school year, we know it's an issue. We know kids are coming to school hungry. That's why we have breakfast. That's why that's why the lunch program is so incredibly valuable. Not even it's valuable for learning for sure, but boy, from a family standpoint, from a neighborhood standpoint, from a community standpoint, if you can stretch that through the summer months, I think it makes a significant difference in the community.
It does, and that's the other thing. We do have families that will escort their kids to the sites, and those families will tell our staff of how much the appreciation they have for the program, and just exactly what you said, what it does for them, and it means the world to our staff to hear that. They're out there. I was out on a truck yesterday, and it was hot. It was
Right.
It was really, really hot, and by the end of the summer, those ladies are tired. But those comments that they hear and what they see on a day-to-day basis makes all that go away.
I don't know how you don't bask in that on the day-to-day. Like take a day off just to see the positives going on at these locations. I mean, I know the job is full on the day-to-day preparing for a school year. That I don't think folks really understand and appreciate the amount of work that goes into a food service program for a county this size, much less any county that's bigger. This is a pretty good sized district.
It is. And we all get trapped into that day-to-day, buried, in focused on what we're doing. And I'll tell you, I have went to a site and just stood back for 5 minutes and soaked it in. I had our director of security with us on the first day at a new site, and we both just stood back and you smile ear to ear. It is bittersweet because you do see some very, very sad situations, but at the end of the day, what we're doing for the kids is just there's words can't describe.
Do we have to have the sites reviewed in a sense, even subtly for, and I'll say security purposes? That sounds a little heavy, but is that either a requirement or is that our call to, hey, why don't we look at this from that standpoint?
We always want to make sure we're putting our staff, we're going into neighborhoods, we're going into communities. Mm-hmm. We always want to make sure we're putting our staff and the kids in a safe place, whether that's logistics due to roads and traffic, right, or just general neighborhood and location on what might be happening in that area. I do lean on our director of security to talk through some of those things. And again, we'll go out and visit sites, and we do lean on some of our school resource officers. Mm-hmm. But again, I'll tell you, in 5 years, we've had very, very minimal problems. Right. We're there to feed kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're in and out.
Right. Any wacky kind of wish list where if under ideal circumstances, next year you'd like to see this, yes, whatever this might be?
Yeah.
What are some of the things on that list?
So one of the things that we found about 2 years ago that was really important to us is not just providing a meal to the kids. That's how the program started. But then we started to see a lot of these kids don't have anything to do. So we started infusing activities in. We've got the bookmobile coming. We've got the mobile dental clinic out. We've got the Authentic Community Theater doing plays. We've got people doing puppet shows and all this stuff.
All in the spirit of, while we have you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And so we've expanded our arms with different partners and pulling activities in. Huh. The one thing that we're looking to do next year, and this is probably the first publicly that we've talked about this, mm-hmm, is a toy drive. We do this at Christmas time and the holidays and look at we would like to do a toy drive in the spring so that in the summertime we can provide a gift to each child at each site on a day. We do that now on a very, very small scale. We call it Surprise Day. Sure. It's one day a week, every other week or so, you'll get a water bottle or a jump rope or a Frisbee. We really want to take it to the next level because we see giving that child a 50-cent item. Some of them, you would have thought you gave them $1,000.
Sure. Right.
So, being able to give a child a basketball or a book or, a game or something, and we see that will make a huge impact on their day.
Is there any way that volunteers can become involved? I'm thinking of two different angles. Those folks in the neighborhood, maybe who don't have any tie to the school system, don't have kids or grandkids in the system, but pass by the sites and see the good that's going on, see the activity that's going on. Or on the other side, for instance, kids who are going to be going back to school, the second day, like the high school kids who need, for instance, student service learning hours. Is there any opportunity for that?
Yeah, that's another one that's on our drawing board. Now, we currently have a couple kids that'll come out and get student service learning hours. Okay. We don't have a formalized program yet. The same thing with the volunteers. Obviously, if we're bringing in volunteers, we have to go through our processes, background checks. And so
right.
that
and
is...
it's not some passing process. We, as a school system, we make sure that that volunteers are in order, so
correct.
to speak.
Yeah, so that's all on the drawing board as we continue to, because we're getting big, and we need extra support.
If somebody listening today as part of a company, an industry, or as a private citizen or a family or an organization would want to can folks? And I'm not here to fundraise, but if somebody has that thought, can they just contact you?
I'd love to hear from them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they can call our main food nutrition service number, mm-hmm, which is 301-766-2890.
Do it again.
301-766-2890. Love to hear from them.
Okay, maybe a minute or two left. Mike Embly's here from Food and Nutrition Services with Washington County Public Schools. So do the 2 minutes on preparing for next school year in the middle of June.
Yeah, we're already full into it. We've got positions to hire.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, the domino effect, people that have retired, people that are moving up into management spots. So that creates a lot of openings. We have about 225 employees, at our 47 sites. Give or take. So that's a big undertaking this summer, getting everybody in. We have training requirements that we're required to meet. So we have back to school trainings, and then we have prescribed trainings throughout the year. We're working on all those programs. We have a person that's working on all the equipment, making sure that new equipment is being brought in and all of that taken care of. Right. We have a person that's working on menus and special diets and nutritionals. We have a person working on the free and reduced application process, cash register systems, all of those things in one. Just, it's, there's not enough hours in the day, and you have to keep moving. You have to be a couple months ahead.
There's no way, unless folks really, really have been in a school food service operation, to know all of those pieces are going full bore every day.
Organized chaos.
Summer, yeah, very much so. Mike, thanks a bunch. I appreciate you always coming out. Mike Embly, who is leading the food service program for the summer for Washington County Public Schools, and then certainly has a few things to do during the regular school year too, out of the office, an assistant supervisor with Food and Nutrition Services. The Lunchtime Live program is heard the third Thursday each month. It's a partnership between Washington County Public Schools and WJEJ.